Hello and welcome to Too Many Movies, the podcast where we discuss DVDs, Blu-rays, and even the occasional VHS tape. I'm your host, Tal, and with me here today, Mafoony. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Dr. Mafoony. I know how through the Discord server that we're on, I have my own YouTube channel that currently working on some stuff right now, but I typically go over movies like from Japanese and Hong Kong cinema, that kind of stuff, but also the occasional manga stuff, related stuff too.
So that's what you have your doctorate in?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Cool.
I had to use ChatGPT to get it though. It was really hard.
I mean, they're speaking another language over in Hong Kong and that side of the world, so yeah, totally.
Got to machine translate everything. That's how you know it's right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, today we're going to be talking about the very famous Hong Kong martial arts movie, Johnny Dangerously, starring very famous Hong Kong actor Michael Keaton. No, this was interesting. So obviously I asked you on to do this episode, and I was going through your watch list because I was trying. Sometimes when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do an episode on with people, I'm just like, oh, one thing I'll do is I'll go through their watch list, try and see if, I don't know, maybe something they have on their watch list I own. And I did notice Johnny Dangerously was in your watch list, I think. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
anyway,
I think...
and so I own it on DVD because I found it at a comic book shop a couple years back, but my history with it goes a little further than that. I've talked about on this podcast a VHS tape I have. I did an episode on it during the Weird Al episode. I did a VHS tape called the Weird Al Yankovic Video Library, because back in the day, he made a VHS tape and just put like a bunch of his music videos on there, because that's, this was before this was before the days of YouTube. So if you wanted to rewatch a Weird Al music video, you had to go to the video library. And one of the music videos on there was of the song "This Is the Life," and and in that music video, it's interspersed. It's basically just Al singing about like how cool it is to be rich and stuff like that, just absurdly rich, like that's the humor, that's the joke. But interspersed in the music video is clips from the movie Johnny Dangerously. And so I had always been like, oh, I want to see this movie, this is interesting. And then so I found it in a comic book shop one day. I'm like, hey, now I get to watch the Weird Al Yankovic song movie, and we're here to talk about it today. This is all what it's all been leading up to, Mafoony. Please explain your history with this movie, even though you just watched it.
Well, believe it or not, my history goes back to middle school with a comment from actually my grammar class, because there's a line that my teachers quoted when we were going over the subject of adverbs. This is good. Now the audience can learn all about grammar, middle school level grammar. So this is totally something definitely very useful in life. But she quoted the line where Johnny Dangerously said his name, and the nightclub singer says, "Don't you know that your name's an adverb?" Or "Did you know that your name's an adverb?" And for some reason that stuck with me throughout the years. I'm like, I've never heard of this movie. So eventually, I found it on Letterboxd. I'm like, okay, I think I remember this movie for some reason. So then I added it, and we finally get to watch it for this podcast. And like you said, I had no idea before this movie got before going into this movie that Weird Al actually did a song for the intro. So I was very pleasantly surprised to hear that.
Yeah, it wasn't always my favorite song on that video library. I was always more of a fan of, I don't know, Fat, Dare to Be Stupid, Eat It. Even I Lost on Jeopardy was a personal favorite of mine on that one. That was always a good one. But this one was always funny because it's just like, oh, that's Michael Keaton, that's Danny DeVito, that's Peter Boyle. Like it had actors I recognized, so I thought, oh, this will be cool to watch someday. And then I eventually watched it.
I'm actually, go ahead. Sorry, I don't know if I interrupted you there.
No, that was the end of my thought.
Because I was pretty big into Weird Al, also conveniently in middle school as well. I had a phase where I was like really into his, just how funny his stuff was.
Oh yeah.
But I never came across this song, so it's kind of interesting how like these two things that happened to me in middle school never crossed each other in my mind. So like, okay, there was a point where he did a song for this movie that line was from.
Yeah, yeah. So, how about that? um,
It really does all lead to this.
yeah, it all leads to this. There's no going back after this. After this episode, it's all downhill from here.
We got to do the Johnny Dangerously Legacy sequel.
um, yeah, actually, watching the movie, I realized, okay, this is just a straight up goofy comedy. Like, not just a comedy, like a straight up parody goofy comedy. And you can tell that within the very first joke. Because obviously they go through the credits. It's, you know, it's pretty simplistic credits, and then it fades in on a pet shop, and the year 1935 is at the bottom of the screen, and then a car runs over 1935.
Yeah, I love that bit. That's like how, you know, like at first, because I looked away, I'm like, wait, what just happened? And I'm like turning like, oh, that's funny.
That is exactly what happened to me. That is exactly what it's exactly what happened. I like turned my eyes for like a split second, and I just see this 1935 explode as the fucking car runs it over. I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. So I had to rewind to see it again.
Name.
It's an incredible sight gag. It's so good, and it's the perfect way to set the tone for what to expect with this movie. I'm thinking, okay, this is like Naked Gun / Airplane. This is the level of comedy we're dealing with here, which I am 100% for.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like, I would say it's like a slightly more restrained version of kind of that Naked Gun style, because I do think it's not like so rapid fire, like boom, 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 all these jokes
Right.
kind of come at you. But it is kind of that same feel where like you have a lead actor who plays it mostly, everyone's kind of playing it mostly straight. It's just everything around the movie, within the movie, is really kind of heightened up and more in the comedy direction.
Heightened sense of reality for sure. It's a movie. It's not about the story or the characters. It's about the jokes and the gags. Which is totally fine if the jokes and gags are funny. In which case, yeah, this is a very funny movie. I think, again, that first joke, 1935 just being run over. So you didn't have to have that in there, but somebody thought of it and thought it was so funny they have to film it that way. I noticed, because when I rewound it, I noticed, you know, the 1935 is kind of, it's, I think they went back and maybe not digitally because this was the early 80s, but they went back and kind of drew on it where like if a car kind of passed in front of the year, like the year would show up in front of the car. So it looks like any other standard establishing text just to show like it's on top of the film. But I guess they still had a prop 1935 numbering on the set. So then finally when the other car comes going the other way and it actually runs it over, it catches you off guard because you think, oh, it's obviously, you know, not supposed to be within the universe of the film, and then it hits it, completely shattering your expectations. It's a perfectly well executed joke, and it probably was a nightmare to film in order to make it a reality, but it was totally worth it in the long run because it is so funny.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how they did it, because I know, like, obviously this is back in the day, like, you know, like you said, no digital, and you really can't. I'm trying to imagine like they had maybe filmed like this prop beforehand, and maybe they're overlaying some of the frames together, like when they're actually completing the cut.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd be really curious to know how they actually filmed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was curious because I knew about this movie. I didn't know it was actually this early in Michael Keaton's career. This was actually pre-Beetlejuice and pre-Batman, which is 1984.
Yeah, 1984, definitely pre-Beetlejuice. Definitely pre-Batman. Which I just want to shout out. I think it's funny that Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito are both in this movie. Batman and Penguin.
And I think it's interesting also how aesthetically it even reminded me a bit of the first Batman, which has that kind of like 1930s retro style, but like in a more modern sense. This is kind of like almost a precursor to that, but you know, obviously they're drawing inspiration from kind of the same source.
Yeah, well, so the back of the DVD describes it as a hilarious send-up of 1930s gangster films. So yeah, that's clearly what they're parodying / paying homage to, is like a very specific genre from a very specific time that I guess not many people knew about by the 80s. They're just like, oh, okay, we're doing a very specific kind of movie.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, growing up, I knew of this movie because of the Weird Al music video, but it's not a movie I hear in the same breath as something like Airplane or Naked Gun when it comes to 1980s comedies.
Yeah, I think maybe it was one of those weird things where it's like it came out either too soon before like parodies really became like big again,
Mm,
or it came too late to kind of be around that airplane style of like that trend going on.
yeah.
Because maybe you can almost argue that someone looked at this post and like, oh, is this like a supposed to be like a real gangster movie, like just straight up no comedy whatsoever? Because I mean the poster's really fun looking,
Hmm.
but I can definitely see someone getting that vibe where it's like not necessarily supposed to be a parody.
Right, but it's also a gangster flick from the 1930s, whereas when
Mhm.
we think gangster flick, we think more modern gangster flicks, so stuff like Goodfellas, Casino. Even though those are upwards of 20 or 30 years old at this point, I would still call them kind of modernish because, we're still talking about them
Yeah.
today. Whereas with this, it is so obviously trying to pay homage to that very specific decade of cinema.
Yeah, because also this is also, I believe, homaging like the pre-depression era
Mm.
gangster flicks versus like I think Goodfellas, which takes place. I believe that's from like movies like Goodfellas and Casino. I think are like mostly based on the '60s and '70s, if I'm not
Oh
wrong,
yeah, yeah. The
or the
Goodfellas was
'50s.
like 60s, 50s. Yeah, there's those movies obviously take place in different eras from when they were filmed too, but there's still more of a modern sensibility to them because of the
Yeah,
way that
you're right.
Scorsese directed them and just how, because then obviously years later when we think of gangster flicks, we're not thinking of the original Scarface, we're thinking of the 1980s Scarface, which is a whole
Hmm.
kind of different interpretation of the gangster genre.
True. And actually, no, maybe I'm wrong with this. I was gonna say I think the '70s had a lot of those period gangster movies. If I'm not wrong,
Well, I
because I
mean,
know like
because Godfather was kind of huge back then. I'm trying to think of other
I think
big.
is The Sting also a period piece?
I actually, yes, I think The Sting is a period piece. I still haven't seen it, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it takes place in the 1920s, but it was obviously the
Mhm.
70s when they filmed it.
Yeah.
So that's
But yeah,
interesting, though.
this
Now that I
movie,
think
like,
about it.
I mean, I guess I'm not too surprised it's not well known. Just like you said, it wasn't like maybe that style of like that kind of genre, what it's kind of throwing back
Hmm.
way back then. But I do think this is for the most part a pretty well done like send up of that
Yeah,
type of movie.
because it is funny. It's
Mhm.
not like we were saying. It's not as laugh a minute as something like Airplane or Naked Gun or even Mel Brooks
Mhm.
comedies. I feel like have a better sense of jokes per minute. Um,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But I don't know. I feel like when I watch something where the first joke is literally a car running over the 1935 establishing year, I expect a little bit more in terms
True.
of terms of jokes per minute. Not that the jokes aren't funny and that it gets necessarily boring in the middle, but it's not as engaging throughout the rest of the
It's a bit
movie.
more plot heavy, you'd say, than something like Naked
Yeah.
Gun or Airplane, right?
Yeah, because there's the whole thing of Johnny and his brother kind of getting at odds with each
Mhm.
other because Johnny's obviously the head of the criminal underground, and then his brother is the new DA. Um, and so there's that kind of. I don't think the movie necessarily takes it seriously, but it pretends to take it seriously in this weird meta
Yeah.
sense. And I don't know. I feel like with a movie like this, you don't really need that kind of conflict, even if it is a joke.
Mhm.
Um, I feel as though you could just be straight gags for the whole movie, and I feel like it would just be fine. Maybe it'd get a little old. I don't know. If you're a very good comedy director, I feel like you can do
Mhm.
a lot more with the gags and still be consistently funny and engaging.
Mhm. And looking for the director, her name is Amy Heckerling, and she actually did another one of my favorite '80s movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I don't know if you've ever seen that film,
I
but
haven't
it's
seen
pretty.
that. I've seen Clueless because I know she did Clueless.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of a similar thing where like it's pretty funny, but also at the same time, it's how do I say this? It's balancing like a story that's more straight laced
A
and
more
straight
grounded
faced versus
story.
like yeah,
Yeah.
but it is also probably the most memorable bits from that movie are the comedy bits that I always remember my parents making jokes about or reminding me of.
Yeah, I would say the same thing with Clueless. I like Clueless. It's a good movie. But the best parts of that are definitely the more absurd moments. Whereas the story itself, the story is still good. I still think Clueless is a very well put together movie. But when I think comedies, a strong story doesn't truly matter to me. Sometimes it can, if the execution is done well, it can help. But I'm obviously there to laugh. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think because it's funny you mentioned it's true that this movie plays it a bit more straight. I think that depending on the viewer, it also could maybe work. I think the phrase I was looking for, or the term I'm looking for, is it's almost like this movie. If you played it more straight, it could literally be like a totally different movie tone wise and still kind of work the same.
yeah.
Because it's almost like the comedy is kind of what separates it. I'm not wording this really good, but it's almost like this movie could have, with a few tweaks, it could have just as easily played for a played straight throwback kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's a comedy. But I do like how it is right now. It's just that's kind of the observation that I had about it.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like you could tweak this just a little bit and it can almost be just a totally different movie tone wise.
Yeah, I feel like, because the aesthetic is still there. I feel like obviously you have certain aspects here and there to make it goofy, but I feel like you still have the 1930s gangster aesthetics there that you could still play it straight. And still, depending on how the story goes, you could make it a genuinely engaging drama or thriller or whatever you want. But yeah, I think it still shows its strengths as a comedy, the fact that it can have these things taken seriously, but still be able to pull off the more absurd jokes.
I was going to mention a joke right now, or do you want to treat the jokes as spoilers to not spoil people on the punchlines?
I don't care about spoilers. Fuck the people if they haven't if they haven't watched the movie and they're listening to the episode.
If you haven't seen this 40-year-old movie, it's your fault.
You're stupid if you haven't seen it. I mean, yeah. Look, I am so used to people not watching the movies that I talk about because some people just don't have the time to watch certain movies, but it's like, well, I took the time to watch it. I'm going to fucking talk about it. So,
and it's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's on Archive.
It is on Internet Archive. I did find it on Internet Archive. I will say the opening song number is not the Weird Al song, which was very strange. But
that's interesting.
Yeah, it was weird.
I found someone who recorded it from, I think, the Stars streaming service.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty decent quality.
Yeah, the version I found was
has a 4K Blu-ray.
The version I found was a VHS recording, which was still cool because VHS rules. But still, it was kind of interesting. Either way, it was on Archive, so yeah, Internet Archive. You can find it there.
I do think it's funny how Dom DeLuise is frequently cited as one of the main cast members, but I believe he's only there for one gag.
He's only there for one gag. Yeah, he's literally on the cover, and he's there
very
for
relevant
one
gag too.
It is a very relevant gag. Yeah, why don't you set it up?
So anyway, I believe the scene is where Johnny Dangerous is saying people, "Hey, don't call me that. By the way, I want you to call me Johnny Kelly.
Johnny Kelly.
To you, as far as everyone knows, I am just Johnny Kelly, the nightclub owner. Yeah, and I'm the Pope. Oh, do they say Your Majesty is the Pope?
Your Excellence? I think they say Your Excellence, because Majesty is more royalty. Yeah, Your Eminence.
You see Dom DeLuise as the Pope right there.
Yeah, and then he goes over to Dom DeLuise as the Pope, and he gives him a roll of cash. He's just like, "Here, get yourself a new swimming pool over at the Vatican." And he's just like, "Oh, thanks," or something like that.
If only this movie took place in Chicago, it would be even more relevant.
Oh, that's right, because the new Pope is Chicagoan.
but I know that what's her name? I know that nightclub Little Sheridan is her name.
Oh yeah,
that's her, Mary Lou Henner.
Mary Lou Henner.
She does think that they're in Chicago until.
Yeah. She's like, I came all the way from Pittsburgh. I came here to Chicago, all the way from Pittsburgh. He's just like, Chicago. This is New York, and she's like, oh, that's the end of it.
I don't know why, but that got me.
Yeah. Lil, this isn't Chicago. This is New York. It's like, What an odd joke. I don't even necessarily get it, but I guess it's just absurd that she thought she was going to Chicago and she's in New York instead. It's like, whatever. Still funny.
My favorite joke in the movie is probably the one that's aged the least appropriately. It's the scene where Joe Piscopo is referring to that his firearm can perform.
Oh, really?
Do you want me to say the joke, or do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't entirely remember. Yeah, you say it.
So I'm not sure if this is the same gun that's like the long barrel that looks almost, which I swear is like a 1-for-1 recreation of a similar, oh no, not a recreation, 1-for-1 inspiration for the scene from Michael Keaton's Batman where Joker pulls the long gun from his pants.
Okay, yeah.
Where he's like, I need to get the exact wording right because I don't want to butcher this joke.
Okay.
He's talking about, how, because he frequently mentions about how powerful his gun is. And one of the things, like, it shoots through schools. And I'm just like, oh no. This was 1984.
Pre-Columbine. Yeah. One of my favorite running gags, and it is with Joe Piscopo, is how he will always say, like, hey, don't touch me. My mom once touched me. Once. Like he just keeps saying, like, my sister kicked me in the balls once. It's like, what a weird running gag, but it did get a chuckle out of me every time he said it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everyone in this movie, like, they are locked in. They know exactly what, like, they need to do, if that's the right way to say it, because, like, I feel like everyone was just top notch in this movie in terms of, like, just totally nailing those jokes.
Yeah.
Like the woman who plays Michael Keaton's mom, I think her name's Maureen Stapleton.
Mm-hmm.
Every time Johnny greets her, he just does a left hook.
Yeah.
It's like, watch out, Ma.
Yeah, what's the one line she says where I forget the conversation they're having. I think she's like, Johnny, I just wanted to tell you something. And he's like, what, Mom? He's like, I go both ways. It's like they just have her say the most absurd things throughout the movie. It's pretty funny.
Or how because she's a pretty older actress, so in the first scene Johnny's like, hey Mom, 26 today. She's maybe off like 60 or 50.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I hope I make it to 30.
Yeah, just a spot performance. This might be my favorite Michael Keaton performance, at least
Really?
in what I've seen thus far, because he's really, like, I do like him in a lot of movies, but I just really like this portrayal, kind of like this, just this like gangster, but like with a heart of gold, who's like in the worst kind of situations.
It's definitely,
I think he really nails it.
Yeah, no, he definitely nails it. Yeah, I don't know what my favorite Michael Keaton performance would be. Oh, who am I kidding? Vulture and Morbius, of course. But
of course.
But besides that, yeah, this is definitely a very good Michael Keaton performance because it is funny. It shows that Michael Keaton is a seriously funny guy. But he was also able to pull off that seriousness when it came to roles like Batman. But yeah, this definitely is more, and this is not like Beetlejuice where he's totally crazy. I feel like he's still a little bit reserved in this role, but enough that it's still funny. So it just shows you that he is just a seriously funny guy. Yeah, no, I agree. I love his performance.
One of his other comedic performances, I do say that he's excellent in this Will Ferrell film called The Other Guys, where he plays a police chief who also works at Bed Bath & Beyond. He's a supporting role in that movie, but it's really funny as well.
I need to see that. That sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, that is like my dad's like favorite movie, one of his favorite movies of all time, and there's so many. It's so quotable.
Interesting.
It's like one of the most quotable movies of all time.
That sounds
probably
awesome.
Mark Wahlberg's greatest performance.
Really? Okay. I mean, I believe that.
It's like, I'm a peacock, Jerry. You gotta let me fly. That line will make more sense when you watch the movie.
I'm sure it will. Yes. As a resident Bostonian here, I have to be a Wahlberg fan. I'm legally obligated to be. So
another one of, I think, the strongest things about this movie is just how good the set design is. I think like the set design and costume design really sticks out, because I think especially when a movie does kind of like this kind of 1930s 1920s aesthetic, it's really like, it's almost kind of make or break, I guess, because like I think when you go to that aesthetic, it can really either show like how much you don't know that era or how much like you're really able to flex like that kind of budget for that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie really does an amazing job of just nailing that aesthetic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm obviously not that well versed in when it comes to 1930s gangster flicks because I still have not seen the original Scarface, and I'm talking original Scarface, the one from the
Mhm.
30s, because I have seen the 80s Scarface. Um, but it's still an aesthetic that I can still pinpoint. I can still kind of point to and be like, yes, I understand what it is, and so when this movie's parodying it, I understand that. Um,
Mhm.
I guess because I have seen enough, I don't know, Bugs Bunny cartoons where they parody 1930s gangster flicks. So I guess that's where I get that
Mhm.
acknowledgement of that aesthetic. But even still, I think the movie still does a good job in nailing the aesthetic and so nailing the jokes along that come along with it. Um, but I guess that is still kind of a weird kind of subgenre to be parodying specifically, because I guess if it was back in the 30s or 40s when those flicks were very popular, then I feel like this movie would have done gangbusters, whereas it came out in the 80s, 30 or 40 or 50 years after. So I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, I don't get it. They probably still went to see it and thought, oh, this is funny, because it is a very funny
Mhm.
movie. um
I think, kind of going on your point, it might be kind of like how today we have a lot of movies that are either set in the 80s or have like things making fun of the 80s. So I think it's
mhm.
kind of like that.
Sure,
Except
yeah,
obviously, I don't think that they were that prevalent back then to do
right.
it of the 30s.
But
Because
now,
kind of go on. Mhm.
but I was just gonna say, but now that we're 80 years removed from the 30s, I feel like this aesthetic isn't really gonna click with a lot of the youngins as much.
Mhm.
I
That's
still
true.
hope a lot more people check out the movie because it is still genuinely funny, even if you're not as familiar with 1930s gangster flicks. I think that, like I said, I'm not that well versed in that genre, but I still found this movie to be incredibly funny.
Mhm. And I'm kind of in your boat too, because I haven't seen a ton. I mean, I'm familiar like through cultural osmosis of things like just spoofs, like in the Bugs Bunny cartoons that you mentioned. But another thing I think is like in the early '90s, there were a lot of movies kind of focused on that time period. If I'm not too wrong,
Mm-hmm.
movies like Dick Tracy, and I know there's a few other movies that are specifically meant to be set in the '30s
Duck
around that time
Tracy.
as well.
Double header, Neon Noodle, Batman. You're all under
Because another one of
arrest.
my Yeah, it's another. Oh yeah, that's right. That scene was specifically spoofing Dick Tracy,
Yeah,
which I think
the Great Piggy
was from
Bank
a
Robbery.
similar
I love that cartoon so
time.
much.
Because another movie kind of from that era, where like they're referencing the '30s and like the '20s,
Mm.
is one of my favorite Jackie Chan movies. Is called Miracles, which
Mm.
is kind of similar to this in the sense it's a comedy, but it's also a lot of plot points are played straight.
Right.
But it's like not as zany as this. But it's
Sure.
just one of those another one of those movies where it captures that aesthetic so nice that
Mm.
I don't know. It feels like you're in that world too, which is
Right.
something very positive I feel about this movie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything else? Just because I don't want you to hurt your voice no more.
Yeah, my voice might be a bit. I did not know it was this bad. My bad. I did
that's
not know it was
that's
coming this.
totally fine. That's totally fine. So do you want to take this opportunity to shout out your stuff?
So yeah, like I mentioned before, I have a YouTube channel named Dr. Mafoony. In fact, yes, inspired by the character from Terror of Mech Godzilla, though spelled totally wrong, purposely. And I haven't don't have a ton of new uploads on there right now, but I'm working on a video. That's kind of a look back at Jackie Chan's Police Story trilogy that I want to do this year. Hopefully, I'll get that done soon. If I don't, though, I have other good videos on there too. You could find me on Twitter with the same handle where I typically tend to retweet and talk about movies like that kind of like those movies that I go over my YouTube channel as well. And I just want to say thank you to Ha for letting me be on this show, and thank you for giving me the chance to look at this movie that I've always wanted to check out. But as you know, when you have a watch list as long as anyone does, it's hard to like really just bookmark the stuff that you need to watch. But thank you because it
Mm-hmm.
was a good experience. It was fun to go on the podcast and talk with you about all these great jokes from the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I hope more people check it out because I do think it's genuinely a pretty underlooked and underrated movie. And who knows? If this podcast gets popular enough, and there's enough attention, we could get Johnny Dangerously again, strikes again.
Johnny Dangerously strikes again.
I mean, we have Beetlejuicer,
Mm-hmm.
and him coming back as Batman.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
Either this or Mr. Grandma.
Either this or Jack Frost 2, where he comes back as the ugly ass snowman.
Jack Frost versus the horror Jack Frost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for coming on, dude. And thanks for not making it seem as though I'm forcing you to be on the podcast, even though I totally am.
No, there's like a gun under the table, a Tommy gun under the table right now.
Shut up, dude. Shut up.
That's good. It's good. It's good for the aesthetic. It captures the 1930s.
Yeah, exactly.
My mom put me on a podcast once.
Once?
There was a little Spanish flea.
Wow, Mafoony, you must have coughed so hard you turned into a completely different person.
I'm back! I'm back! If anyone doesn't remember me, I am ZaMovieDude.
I knew you were going to say it like that.
Whoa, two movie references. Whoa, 2 movie references for the price of 1.
Yeah, how about that? 2 epic movie references. All right, I got to explain what's happening here as a movie dude. So, Mafoony wasn't feeling well yesterday on Sunday when we were supposed to record. So he said, "Hey, I probably won't be able to do the episode." So I said, "That's fine. It happens." So then I went to ZaMovieDude being like, "Hey, do you want to it's been a while since you've been on the podcast. Can you replace Mafoony for this one?" But then Mafoony got back to me after you had said yes, and he's like, "Actually, you know what? I think I'm fine. I think I can keep going with the episode." And I was like, "Well, I already asked ZaMovieDude. Oh, this is going to be awkward." Because it was literally like in Monty Python and the Holy Grail when what was it? Concord gets struck by the arrow. He's like, "Message for you, sir." Then he's just like, "Actually, I'm fine, sir." So he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'll do the episode." And so we did record about half an hour's worth, and but then he obviously couldn't do the whole thing. Again, understandable. He had a sore throat. I didn't want to pressure him too far. So then I'm like, well, then you know what? This is the very first episode where I have 2 guests on who don't interact with each other. Actually, that's a lie. What am I saying? The April Fool's Day video was literally that. It was literally Swine and then William. So this is the second time we're doing this. But we're doing this on accident as opposed to on purpose. Anyway, long story short, thank you, ZaMovieDude, for coming on to talk more about Johnny Dangerously. How are you doing?
No problem. Like, after 2 long years, like, this is the type of shit I got myself that you got me into. Go ahead, because I thought Johnny Dangerously was a really fun movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm glad I was able to find it for you. Okay, so you actually had said this before we started recording. The link to Internet Archive I gave to you was buffering. So you had to find it on another site.
Like, it was most likely buffering on my end,
which
kind of isn't surprising because, like, some of the piracy sites I use tend to buffer from time to time.
Oh yeah, I've had many a buffering pirate sites. It's obnoxious and why I don't like doing it, but sometimes I have no choice. Anyway, did you start over or did you go to like the part where you left off in the film?
It was like after the nodding scene.
Okay, after the nodding scene. Okay, because I've noticed the link I gave you starts off because we had talked about this with Mafoony, how the opening number was done by Weird Al Yankovic, but that's not the version I sent to you. So I was just wondering if like maybe this new version you watched actually did have the Weird Al song. So it's just weird that apparently there's 2 versions of this movie, one with the Weird Al song, one without. That's bizarre.
Oh, like, I didn't know Weird Al did a song for this movie. Like, I looked on Letterboxd and I don't think he was even credited?
No, he's not, because he just did
Like-
the song. He did the opening song, and we talked about this with Mafoony. The song he did, the music video has clips from Johnny Dangerously, which is how I found out about Johnny Dangerously. But yeah, look up the song "This Is the Life" by Weird Al. Good song.
Which I of course in the because like I literally have not heard of this movie until like I don't know by the time Hal watched it.
Yeah.
And then when he asked me, I was like to quote the best character of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 besides the Robotniks, "We're going in blind."
Puppet Tom. Yeah, no, it's like I was saying with Mafoony, it's not that popular of a film, but I don't know, because I knew about it growing up. I just never watched it. And from looking at it when trying to find where it was streaming, it's not really streaming that much anywhere. So it's just kind of a miracle I happen to have it on DVD. But yeah, no, I'm happy to spread the word on it because yeah, like you said, it is a very funny movie.
Yeah, like this one's got so many good ones. Like probably my favorite one that I'm gonna keep on quoting, even though the people are gonna say you are being inappropriate. And then what I will say is, let's see, how is it again? Fuckface, or is it fuckface or fuckhead?
Are you quoting the movie or are you quoting a meme? Because when you said you're being inappropriate,
no,
I'm thinking of the open season video.
No, I'm quoting the movie where like the bird said the bird.
Oh yeah, yeah, the bird, the fucking parrot. Yeah, you missed fuckface. Oh, that was incredible.
And also another one that got me good, which is a specific cast member, which I wasn't expecting, is Chicken Jockey. I mean Danny DeVito.
Yeah, let's talk about Danny DeVito because I had mentioned earlier that it's funny that he and Michael Keaton are in this movie, and all I was thinking was Penguin and Batman, ho ho ho. But he genuinely does. He does have some legitimately funny scenes. I mean, Danny DeVito is a genuinely funny guy. One of my favorite scenes of his is one of my favorite scenes is when he's trying to convince Johnny's brother as the assistant DA to like kind of play along. When he's showing him like, and if you play the game right, if you play along, you'll get this nice oven, you'll get this nice car, and he's just showing it off like a game show. It's genuinely really funny.
And then he exposed himself.
Yeah.
Like Tommy said, he's gonna turn him in.
Yeah, he's gonna turn him in. Yeah, and I also love Danny DeVito's death scene in the movie too, because it's incredible. It's so incredible. I honestly probably don't even get it either, but it still translates as funny to me. So they're in a restaurant, he and Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton gives him a like red jacket. And he holds it up. He goes, "Oh, red, my favorite color." And then Michael Keaton gets up to like make a phone call, and then a bull just marches into the restaurant.
What? Sadly, he doesn't do that much movie, but like those two scenes make up for it.
Yeah. So then it just immediately cuts to a newspaper clipping, and it says Danny DeVito's character dies in a commercial. I'm assuming, I didn't do any research, but I'm assuming the joke is that the beer they're drinking, I guess, has a commercial where a bull crashes into a restaurant. Like, that's the only explanation I have for that, for why it says, like, Danny DeVito's character dies in a commercial. Because, like, the red jacket kind of angering the bull, I get that. That's a good joke. But then it's the whole dies in a commercial thing that leaves me scratching my head like, wait, what? But also, it's just kind of funny just how random it is to see Danny DeVito's character dies in a commercial. Like, that in and of itself is funny enough. I just don't entirely get the reference to truly get the joke.
Oh, also speaking of newspapers, another great gag is, with the old guy where first he's blind, and then he gets hit in the head with a bunch of stacks of newspaper, and
Yeah.
then he can see again. Yay! And then the same thing happens, and then he becomes deaf, and then it happens again where where he can see and he can hear, but he lost his memory.
Dementia. I barely know her. Yeah, I'm just going through other scenes I really liked. Oh, one line I really loved was, "I've become a real scumbag." Hey, good for you, Danny.
Oh yeah, your testicles and you.
I was just gonna say, yeah. There's literally a cartoon because it's Tommy, I think, is Griffin Dunne's character. Griffin Dunne. Hold on, I gotta make sure I'm getting his name right.
The guy from After Hours.
The guy from After Hours, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the most enjoyable Scorsese movies, even though I personally wouldn't put it among my favorites from him.
Yeah, that was my first movie of his I remember seeing him in, so whenever I see Griffin Dunne show up in a movie, I do think of After Hours. He was also in American Werewolf in London and French Dispatch, for other people that don't know who I'm talking about. Anyway, he plays Johnny Dangerously's brother, who is the assistant DA, eventually the DA. Anyway, his character's name is Tommy. Yeah, so Tommy goes to Johnny. He's just like, man, I'm leaving law school. I just want to get laid. He just wants to have sex with his girlfriend. And so then Johnny's just like, oh yeah, well, let me show you this little film. And he shows him like a 1950s PSA of like, your testicles and you.
Like, just some commercial of fictional disease is enough to convince him to go back to law school.
Yeah, exactly. Because then he sees the dick explode. It's incredible.
Johnny's boss thought he lost it. Well, like when he went to the bathroom and it exploded by the rival gang.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, there's this really funny part. Well, I'm pretty sure it's Joe Piscopo's character, Vermin, Danny Vermin. Yeah, he parks in a spot, and it's a handicap spot, and his hired goon says, "Hey, it says it's a handicap spot," and he goes, "I am handicapped. I'm psychotic," and he puts up a sign doing the crazy motion, like to show that he's handicapped.
Yeah, I love it when like some films like this just like these pieces of humor like comes out of completely nowhere.
Yeah,
and I just can't help but find it extremely funny. Like probably like the main cabana of why Spaceballs is unironically one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I was talking with Mafoony about this, how it is, I would say, kind of on the lower end, but still within the same level of stuff like Airplane, like Spaceballs, like The Naked Gun, like these flat out absurd, goofy comedies. I just don't feel as though it doesn't have as nearly as many gags as those movies. Like with those movies, there's a gag every minute, and it never gets tiring. Like those movies know how to keep the energy up. Whereas this one, it does have a lot of gags, but they're a little more few and far between comparatively. Not that that's bad. I feel like this movie still works as a comedy. It's just, I don't know. I feel as though those movies, like your Spaceballs, your Airplane, your Naked Guns, those are able to really kind of stuff it in there and just everything lands, you know?
Yeah, like this movie, I noticed about this with some genuine scenes, which again they do work, but also somewhat kind of distracting from the movie's overall comedy.
The comedy is basically what the movie is focused the most on, and that's fine because when it's actually focused on that, like another genuinely hilarious scene is when all the gangsters are in like an office, and I think it's Danny Vermin shoots his gun, maybe accidentally, and some guy gets shot, and he gets shot in the chest, and he looks at his jacket, and he just looks all annoyed and pissed off, and he goes, "Oh, you ruined the jacket!"
Like he was like, Look, bro's got literal plot armor.
Yeah. But then he actually does die, which makes it all the more funnier.
Like, I can't remember who was in because, like, some guy, like, died because, like, somebody was smoking big time in that room.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because then, yeah, the Michael Keaton, Johnny dangerously enters into that scene, and it's incredibly smoke heavy. There's a lot of smoking. And so then he just looks at the camera and goes, "Kids, this is now a smoking PSA. Don't smoke." It's like, again, adding to the movie's absurdity. Like, that's funny.
Also, speaking of absurdity, you know who Dom DeLuise is?
Oh yeah, we talked about the Pope character, but yeah, you talk about the Pope scene.
Yeah, before he was Pizza the Hut, he was the Pope.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, yeah. This does have a connection to Spaceballs with that, with Dom DeLuise, because he plays the Pope in that one scene, and he was Pizza the Hut in that one Spaceballs scene. Yeah, that's the thing with Dom DeLuise. I'm noticing he does show up. I guess I haven't seen him as a major character in a lot of movies, whereas a lot of, because I'm starting to think about that. Like, the very first movie I ever saw Dom DeLuise in was the Muppet movie, and that's a cameo. He's in this movie as the Pope, as just a cameo. He's in Spaceballs, it's just a cameo. He's in Blazing Saddles as just a cameo. I'm trying to think, what's a movie I've seen him in that he actually plays a major role?
Well, from what I've seen, the closest thing I've seen to a main role is that, like, let me see. He plays the character Jeremy in The Secret of NIMH.
Yes, yeah, okay, he was in that. Oh, that's right. He's the voice of Munchie in Munchie. Actually, Munchie rules. So
Munchie. Wait a minute, Munchie. Wait a minute. I've seen this movie somewhere before.
Yeah, we watched it on Wheel Night.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's why I saw that. Was it a fun movie?
Oh, dude, Munchie rules. Like, it's so funny. Like, yeah, it has a 2.2 average on Letterboxd, but I gave it a 7 because I thought it was so funny.
Well, that means I'm gonna add it to the list.
Oh,
because,
dude, yeah, highly recommend.
Maybe sometimes the general public doesn't. Maybe sometimes the general public doesn't defy what you think of it.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean,
like example, the Minecraft movie is broadly hated, and which I of course adore that movie. How could I not? Just saying.
Fair enough. Yeah, true.
And then I think I remember Don Dale, like, oh yeah, he was Tiger in American Tail.
Yeah, so I've definitely seen him in movies. I was just thinking about how the majority of movies I've seen him in, he's always played a much smaller role. Yeah, I guess stuff like Secret of NIMH, American Tail, he did play a much bigger role. He was literally the main character in A Troll in Central Park, everyone's favorite Don Bluth movie.
I'm kind of in agreement here because all the movies I've seen him in were a collection of the Muppet movie, Mel Brooks, and Don Bluth movies.
Mm-hmm. Oh right, he was in The Skateboard Kid as the skateboard. What a career!
Skateboard Kid? What is that?
Oh, you don't know that? Have you not seen the JonTron review?
No, I don't watch JonTron.
Oh, yeah, JonTron did a video on it. Red Letter Media talked about it that one time. That's the very famous segment where Red Letter Media just kind of their segment on the Skateboard Kid just devolves into them making up a bunch of jokes about Dom DeLuise getting pregnant. Like,
what?
Oh my god, it's so funny. I'm not going to do it justice by explaining it, but just know that they come up with this whole hypothetical of Dom DeLuise sitting on a bus and some dude just like getting his dick stuck in his armpit.
You know what? Just for this, like, I'm adding the Skateboard Kid to the collection of ideas that are coming in hot in my brain.
Of course, you had to say it like that. You really weren't kidding. You were going to talk about the Minecraft movie throughout this.
Like,
I can't stop you now.
I was trying to say that for the past day.
Was it worth it? Yes.
And they've gone too far in a few places.
Anyway, highly recommend the John Tron video. Highly recommend the Red Letter Media video on the Skateboard Kid. I've never actually watched the Skateboard Kid. I just know of it because of John Tron and Red Letter Media. So,
for those precise reasons, we must do it.
yeah. We must mine and craft. Hey, wait a minute. Say that again?
First we mine. Oh. Now that you go on, you're supposed to
Oh, then we craft.
same time.
Oh.
Let's Minecraft.
Let's Minecraft, yeah.
Oh god, I think we've got a little bit sidetracked here.
That's okay. Anyway, Johnny Dangerously. It's a funny movie.
Like it's personally one that I don't have the most to say about, but I would appreciate if we were to get some more attention.
Yeah, so it's from Amy Heckerling, who I have seen other movies. Okay, no, I've only seen one other movie from, and that is Clueless.
I counter argument. I've seen 2 movies from him. Oh wait, her. My bad. Her. Clueless, and National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Yeah, I'm just seeing she actually did do that too. So yeah, okay, so yeah, look at that. Women can be funny because they direct funny comedy movies. I mean,
yeah, and
again, Clueless and Johnny Dangerously are my only introduction to this lady. So
yeah, and I heard Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Look Who's Talking were funny, I guess.
Yeah, no, I've heard good things about Fast Times, so that's one I definitely have to check out. But yeah, no, so it's interesting because Johnny Dangerously, again, I compared more to something like Airplane or Naked Gun, but I wouldn't consider Clueless that. Clueless is very much a like mid-90s kind of teen rom-com comedy. But still, it's very funny.
And it's of course grounded, but
yeah.
Yes, I recall many standout moments from that one.
Oh yeah, I love Clueless. I liked it a lot. It's a very good movie. But yeah, no. So it just goes to show that she can do both. She can do a Clueless and she can do a Johnny Dangerously. Yeah, no. I do hope a lot more people check out Johnny Dangerously because it is a genuinely funny movie. Is it the funniest comedy I've ever seen in my life? No, but I still think it has enough going for it that I want more people to check it out. I mean, that goes for any good movie I come across when I do episodes for, this podcast, is that, I want people to check out these movies within reason. Sometimes I watch a movie and I'm like, do people really need to see fear.com? No. So, do people really need to see Stealth or Marmaduke 2022? Actually, Marmaduke 2022 is one I hope everybody sees someday.
Good.
If they haven't yet already, they should see it. They should see it soon.
And also Stealth. Like, would you recommend Stealth to me?
I mean, Dana seems to really love Glazing Stealth, so maybe just for that.
Like, I don't know. Like, I remember him watching it a few years ago because of I can't remember, because of like you watching for the podcast, I guess. But like,
maybe
that's why. Oh yeah, good memories. That's why I brought it up a few days ago.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be a great server watch party.
Yeah, maybe. But like, what's a genuinely bad movie that I've talked about on the podcast I would not recommend people watch? Independence Day Resurgence. That's a genuinely awful movie that I hated that so much. So I don't recommend people watch that.
No way. Like, saying it unironically doesn't justify how much that movie blows.
I hate it.
No, wait. Oh no! Like, you know what I'm referencing? I can't remember. I can't even remember what that referencing is even from.
Yeah,
it's where guys looking at the camera, like playing a video game.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think that's in Resurgence. Is that?
No, I'm referencing a meme.
Oh, I don't know what you're referencing. This is the first. See, I got this is inappropriate from the fucking open season video. Like, that was a deep cut, but I love that video so much. I knew exactly what you were quoting with that one. But I was entitled because I was really phrasing it. But if I would have
if I would have to come across an really bad comedy, I had to do some brainstorming here.
Yeah.
Because I have to do all technicality. Resurgence does not count.
Yeah, that's not a bad comedy. Okay, yeah. If we're talking comedies, let me go back in the Too Many Movies lore. Like, what is a comedy?
I don't know. Give me an example of one that I haven't seen.
Well, let's sort by lowest. By me. Oh, have you seen Paws of Fury?
Oh no, not that one. I have a funny story with that movie. I remember only watching it because Mel Brooks was in the movie.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason I watched it.
That's how much I love Mel Brooks.
Yeah, see, that movie's so funny because we didn't technically have to watch it for the Blazing Saddles and Jaws episode way back when. I just wanted to, and then I just counted because me and Bamison did talk about it for a while during the episode. So, okay, no, Showgirls 2. I guarantee you haven't seen that one. That apparently is a comedy.
Nope.
Yeah,
nope, I haven't seen Showgirls 1.
Oh, well, you gotta watch Showgirls 1. That's worth watching.
And then what about the sequel?
Showgirls 2. That's about as bad as you can expect it to be, and more so. Like, it's so funny because I talked about this before, but I claimed, Independence Day Resurgence was the worst movie I'd ever talked about on the podcast, bar none. And then 2 episodes later, I talk about Showgirls 2 with William, and I'm like, I kind of have to give it to Showgirls 2 as being the worst thing I've talked about on the podcast. So,
really, that like, where would Netflix's Marmaduke rank among the worst?
It's probably in the high tier when it comes to half-star movies. It's still bad and still one of the worst things I've talked about on the podcast, but it's not the worst. There are movies that pissed me off more than Marmaduke. Marmaduke 2022 was a specimen, you must understand.
Yeah, you need to spend a shitload of time and a shitload of rewatches talking about it.
Exactly, which I will not do.
But let me look into something. I saw an episode which you did of Sinners and Fear.com.
Modern classic, yes.
What the hell is like would you consider like something like that among like I'm getting sidetracked, but like Showgirls 2 the worst.
Yeah, Showgirls 2 is the worst. Independence Day Resurgence is the angriest I've ever been watching a movie. Fear.com is probably definitely down there too. It's also really bad. Like, genuinely nothing good about it. So yeah, those are definitely amongst the top of like the worst of the worst.
I was looking into Showgirls 2.
Yeah.
And then I discovered something. Horrible.
Oh, did you?
What? Why is it nearly 2.5 hours?
Oh, dude, the watch party I did because I was like, "Hey, everybody, we're watching Showgirls 2," and I watched it. It was me, William, Yinsid, James. Nobody liked it. Everybody was very mad by the end of the night because it was 145 minutes of pure agony. But we had to keep going because it was for the podcast. So,
like, and how many have seen Showgirls 1?
Oh, that's the funny part. I think me and William were the only ones in that call that actually had seen Showgirls 1 before. So everybody was horribly lost. Like, I don't even understand what's happening.
Oh my god.
I mean, look, like, I had seen Showgirls 1 and even I was having a hard time understanding what was happening.
Even for the fact that they got Paul, I honestly think I'll have a hard time trying to pronounce his last name.
Aww.
Like, you know who I mean, the RoboCop director.
Yeah, Paul Verhoeven. Well, Paul Verhoeven, yeah, did the first Showgirls. Yeah, the first Showgirls is bad, but I highly recommend people check it out because it's one of those. It's not even one of those so bad it's good movies. It's just a fascinating specimen in how to fail at satire. I've talked about it on the podcast, and I've watched it multiple times, and I own the 4K of it forever. But yeah, I think it is worth watching at least once, because it is one of those movies that's been seen as like, oh, it's one of the worst movies ever made. It's not. It's just dumb and just does not work as a satire. That's basically it.
So basically it has the same reputation as, per se, the Star Wars prequels.
Oh yeah, but the Star Wars prequels are much more enjoyable than Showgirls.
I can guarantee you, as I, of course, rewatch them.
Yeah.
For Revenge of the Sith in theaters.
Me too.
Like, I'm a lucky bastard because I saw it in theaters twice.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. No, watching Revenge of the Sith in theaters was fucking magical.
Yeah, that's all. But on the downside, I missed out on a Phantom Menace in theaters, and they didn't do it for Attack of the Clones. I wanted to hear the Lego Yoda scream in theaters.
That would have been cool, yeah, because I did see Phantom Menace in theaters for its re-release. That was funny too, because it was just really funny to be in a packed theater full of people that knew what they were getting into, and then halfway through they're like, "Oh God, I'm watching Phantom Menace in theaters." It was quite magical to experience it that way. Yeah, no, I would have loved to have seen Attack of the Clones in theaters. I hope they do. I hope they do it someday.
Like, I really hope, because I am gonna commit to unironically clapping during the scene where, like, you know, the scene where Anakin crashes out. It's Obi-Wan's fault. He's jealous.
It's all ZaMovieDude's fault.
Oh God, I remember that gif.
That's a
Good
classic.
memories.
Hood classic.
Also, like, to anyone who says otherwise, that's the biggest crash out in any media ever.
Yeah. Chat, was it justified?
He murdered children, and Padme still fell in love with him.
Yeah. Well, anyway, speaking of murdering children and Padme falling in love, Johnny Dangerously.
Oh no.
Well, was there anything else we wanted to say about Johnny Dangerously before I get into this DVD?
Honestly, I do not think so. I'll say, for anyone who's never heard of it, I would really give it a watch. Search for it if you can search for it, and when you find it, yeah, go watch it. And then if you like it, like, spread the word. I guarantee that you all enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Now about that DVD.
Yeah, so the DVD, I just wanted to give a couple of cool fun facts about it. So the menu, I love the menu options, because for when you play it, to select to play it, it's labeled as "Play It Ice Hole," which I thought was really funny. And the DVD comes with trailers on the special features section, and one of the trailers is for Freddy Got Fingered, which was awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Freddy Got Fingered, let's go.
I have heard legends about that movie.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, dude.
No, but I really want to.
Oh, dude, you gotta get Freddy pilled.
I know, but the only downside is I do not want to watch it alone.
Oh,
like,
sure.
I want it to be the most legendary experience ever.
I've seen it both ways. I've seen it on my own, and I've seen it in a call with people. And both ways, it was incredible. Watching it with people was hilarious, especially with people who, you know, thought they were going to hate it and kind of did. But the whole time I'm just going, this is the greatest movie ever made. And it is. It is one of the greatest movies ever made. I fucking love Freddy Got Fingered. But yeah, no, it is incredible to witness with people, especially people who have never seen it. I think that's definitely the way to go. But it's also, it's just an enjoyably hilarious film, in that it's not that enjoyable. But it is funny in how absurd it is.
Sounds like the Minecraft movie.
Well, to each their own. But yeah, no, so Johnny Dangerously, I like this movie, and I hope people check it out. I'm keeping the DVD. This was a fun watch. I'm so glad I got to finally watch the movie that features the Weird Al song I grew up listening to. So this came full circle. I'm glad to have it in the collection. All right. ZaMovieDude, thank you so much for doing this last second, dude. I really appreciate it. So why don't
once again, no problem.
Yeah.
Like after so much has happened, like if anyone knows, they know. Like, but like, anyways, like, I'm really happy to be talking about stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, including some upcoming stuff, which again I came up myself.
Yeah, yeah. You'll have your Minecraft movie episode someday in 2070 when I feel like doing it.
Like, thank you. Now you've made it obvious when I was trying to give away small hints.
Small hints. You were literally saying chicken jockey. Come on, dude.
Yeah, but I thought that would people to guarantee that I would be the star of the Minecraft movie episode.
From the sounds of it, you're the only one who is brain rotted enough to be on the Minecraft episode when it eventually happens.
Are you sure? Try to find someone who has more brain rot from that movie more than me.
I can't, and I won't go looking. So as far as I can tell, you're the number one candidate. Oh, but yeah, no. And then there'll be other normal episodes, I'm sure. But anyway, ZaMovieDude, why don't you take this opportunity to shout out your stuff, dude? You've been here before, but shout them out anyway. It's been a while. Remind people.
Well, I of course got a letterbox, but I didn't say last time. I do have Serialized, which I of course like TV shows. Currently binge watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars up to season 5, and you know what? Fuck it, Blue Sky.
Mr.
Like,
Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to find a way for so long. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
I'll just say, like, I heard it was basically like, Twitter but safe. And then, yeah, then you know what, like, why not? I gave my chances, and then nowadays, I don't know, I don't use it.
Yeah, no, me neither do I.
That much. I don't use it that much, but like, I use it from time to time. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll send you the links, Hal.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I started to use it, and then I was like, wait a minute, I hated Twitter. What am I going to get out of using Blue Sky? So, I mean, I'll use it occasionally to just be like, hey, check out this episode, but other than that, I don't go on it.
I'll tell you what you don't get: pieces of shit.
No, you get pieces of shit on Blue Sky. It's just they're not Twitter pieces of shit because, you know, they're not Elon dick riders.
Yeah, but I'll keep my eye out if I ever encounter people like that, because, like, as I'm gonna do the base thing and only allow neutrals to comment.
That's good. Yeah, just like on Letterboxd, you come across pieces of shit, you just limit comments.
Exactly. Like I've counted a few of those people, which I do not want to mention right now. That's all I've got.
That's all I got too.
I don't know, how do you want to end it off?
Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time, you Flargan ice holes. Haha, it's a reference to the movie. If you watched it, you would get it. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Just